So a member of the channel asked me this question that you can see on screen. How long should you bulk for versus how long should you cut for? I'm going to break this down into 3 categories of humans in which will be a different answer for each one. You can relate to which category you fit into and apply that advice. So let's take the first candidate. This is me in 2020. Very lean, but also minimal muscle. So if this is you, this would be the approach I can take. You are lean starting out, brilliant. Now this means you've got a long headway for how long you can bulk for. You also have minimal muscle and probably a very fast metabolism. So at this point, you can feel free to bulk pretty aggressively, look to gain half a kilo each and every week. But don't get this wrong, the food is not what will build muscle. Your training in the gym, your consistency of getting stronger in the gym is what will build muscle, but the food is there to support that. The food is there to also to support weight gain along with muscle growth, and then you'll sleep in the outside the gym in order to repair the damage you've done, to grow back and push on further and further. In your case, how long you should bulk for, the answer is honestly as long as humanely possible. Because you have literally zero muscle. So you need to do everything in your power to stack on as much as you possibly can. You'll probably get around about a year before you'll either get too soft, your body will just not really respond to the amount of food or specifically carbs that you're using, your pumps will deflate, you won't really feel as energetic in the gym, and it's at that point when you'll then look to cut. The answer, how long should you cut for this sort of person, is you only really want to do what's known as a cleanup phase, and that's to just take you from anywhere, if you're around 16, 17% body fat, clean back up to somewhere around 12, 11, maybe 10, and then go again, because one bulk is not going to solve your issues. You probably think it will, it definitely won't. You will need to go for, at this stage of the game, at least 3 bulking and cutting phases. So if I were you, I would just get as big as you can in the first phase, cut your losses, shave down whatever body fat you've accrued, and literally repeat the process, just refining each time you do it in terms of like how well you can execute your movements, what foods you found have worked well for you, that digest well for you, and what you can actually stick to over the long term. Now, don't get this wrong, don't take this, if you're in this condition, as a green light to eat utter garbage, because if you do that to your body, you'll get body fat quicker and your performance will not be any better for it. So try and keep to as clean food as humanly possible. So that's how I'd approach it. The answer, if you look like that, would be up to a year, and then you're probably talking, you'll be able to cut it back off within 8 weeks, 12 weeks max, and then go again from there. The next case is probably more specific to most of you that are watching. You are not fat, but you're not beach lean either. You're probably around like 13, 14%, but also zero muscle. Now at this stage, you've got 2 options. You could, if you wanted to, shave down that 13, 14 and get to 10, but I would actually say it's probably not worth your time. It's not like if you were 16, 17, 80%, then 100%, go straight, cut all the way back down to 10, but you're still lean-ish. Like in all right lighting, you can kind of still see a bit of visible abs when you brace your stomach. For your case though, it's a little bit more delicate. I wouldn't be as aggressive looking to gain 0.5 every week. It'd be more like 0.3 to 0.4 every week. And with the surplus, it wouldn't be mass high. It'd be like a steady, gradual one of like 100, 200 calories. But again, it was all in the nature of fueling to get stronger on the gym floor. And that always wants to be, and that will be the message across any different type of body type looking to go into an improvement phase. Try to lose the word bulking. I use it because you understand it, but try to lose that word and look at more, you're in an improvement phase, you're looking to improve muscle. When you hear the term bulk, you just think eat as much as you can and just get as heavy as you can. That's not really the case. The food is there to support what you do on the gym floor. In your case, you're probably gonna have a lot less time in this phase than the initial guy because you're just fatter. You will get softer quicker, you will get to a more uncomfortable look, which maybe 17, 18% body fat, you'll just look in the mirror. And ultimately, if you're used to being lean-ish, at that point you'll look fat and you won't really have the mental bandwidth to keep pushing on any further anyway. That, I think, you'll be able to stretch 6 months out of that improvement phase, but from there you're gonna need to cut down. So your window versus the first guy will be a little bit shorter, but you can still make a great amount of progress in that first phase. You'll then clean up, come all the way back down towards the 12, and then rinse and repeat, and you're essentially doing the exact same as the first. The only difference between the 2 photos I've spoke about is one is leaner, so he's got longer to play with. The other is a little bit softer, so he has less time to play with. But the message is still the same in terms of steady surplus, training to get stronger in the gym, sleeping outside to recover, and cleaning up when needed to, but knowing you're gonna need 2 to 3 phases before you push on. The last example I'll give you is what I'm gonna do right now, which is you've already got a decent amount of muscle, you're lean, you're at a very good starting point, but you want more muscle. But you want to almost, rather than you've done a few bulks, you never want to be as messy and as soft as you got to at the end of the first bulk. You want to live more like an athlete. So you still want to be able to move, still want to be able to do your sport, but always getting stronger and stronger. And this is where you're going to be very, very specific. This is where you're going to talk like 0.3 of a gain per week, but you're looking to yet again stretch this out over like 10, 11, even 12 months again. Because the longer you can spend with fuel in to drive performance, the more muscle you're going to grow. The only reason why we have to stop this process is because ultimately you just keep going until you plateaued or ground into a hole, or you just got too soft and big anyway that your body wasn't using the carbs and the insulin correctly anyway. That's why we have to cut the fat again to then push and be more responsive in a gaining phase and to actually gain the most out of it. Otherwise, gold standard is you'd always sit in that improvement phase. So I found from experience, you don't need as much food as you think to get stronger session after session. Just a little bit more than your maintenance seems to be the sweet spot. Obviously, that's going to be a rolling target where you're going to need to track your scale weight day after day, because there'll be some days where you'll end up doing 15K steps and you'll have eaten into that what was a little bit of a surplus quite comfortably. So you'll need to monitor that and make sure you're sitting just above it. The art of this phase is really not getting sloppy and not having too many off-plan meals, because that can happen. You accrue body fat too quick, and every time you do that, you're almost losing weeks of potential gain when you're going through this phase. For this guy, again, I would say you want to push as long as humanely possible, because you're not getting soft quick. So your months where you're still going to look very good, also fuller, are going to be long as well, which is also going to fuel your motivation in the gym. So I'd say for you, try and push it a minimum 9, ideally as close to 12, if you can, and if you've got the time for it. At this stage, you probably have a full understanding of how the look you like to have. The only reason why you wouldn't be able to stay in it for as long as you probably got events that you want to look fairly nice for in the following year. So yet again, your gaining phase, it could be as long as 12 months. More than likely, it's going to be somewhere from like 6 to 8 before you're going to want to like sharpen up and look tight again. But the message is the same for all three of you. How long should you spend in a bulking phase? As long as humanely possible if your goal is to gain more muscle. That is the simple answer up front. Just how long can you do that for will depend on your starting point and also your experience of being in improvement phase. And how long should you cut for? The answer is as short as humanly possible, because everything does the regressed opposite when you're in that phase. So the message is also don't get too soft in the off season and then you need to cut down. It'll take too long to do so, and you'll just potentially at the detriment of muscle that you just gained. So to put it bluntly, gain for as long as you can, do it smart, do it sensibly, do it tracked and progressive as if it was a dieting phase anyway. So when it comes down to your dieting phase, it's going to be quick and effective. If you found this video of value, drop a subscribe. And if you want to come and join us at the Gorilla Platoon, there'll be a link in the description. As we deliver videos daily, we'll see you tomorrow.